Thank you. Yeah. The folks here. Call.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi. How are you? Good morning.
Hey, hi, how are you? Come on, you fill in. So, and that can go over next page. Okay, one more. Okay, so. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. We're going to start by introducing everybody that's up here, and then we'll go into why we're all here today. Start with Detective Mike.
My name is Patrick Moog, M-O-U-G. I'm a sergeant with the Sexual Kid Task Force.
Sergeant Jennifer Carlson, Detroit Police Department, assigned to the Sexual Assault Kit Task Force. CARLSON.
Todd Bettison, Chief of Police Detroit, BETTISON.
We don't ask what your name.
I follow instructions.
Good morning, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Kelly Gleason, GLEASON, Chief of the Special Victims Unit.
Good morning. I'm Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Louisa Papolis. I am the Deputy Chief of the Special Victims Unit for the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office.
Can you spell your name?
Papalas.
Good morning. My name is Carly Cox, CARLEYKOCKS, and I'm Assistant Prosecuting Attorney.
Good morning. I am also an assistant prosecuting attorney. My name is Elizabeth Moore. My first name is spelled ELISABETH, last name OORE.
And Elizabeth and Carly will be trying this case we're talking about. So these charges are a culmination of a multi-year journey to justice. The alleged facts in this case are disturbing, unsettling, and infuriating. Today we are announcing charges in 5 cases where 5 young women and girls ranging from the ages of 15 to 23 were allegedly sexually assaulted and kidnapped, and this was done by gunpoint. The deplorable fact in this case is that the person that we are charging today has led a double life as a law enforcement officer and a serial rapist, ex-Detroit Police Sergeant Benjamin Wagner. In these cases, we are alleging that Wagner sexually assaulted his young victims, and the commonalities were they were walking to school or home from work or simply going to a friend's house. These happened in the early morning hours mostly, all on Detroit's northwest side. He utilized isolation and force. He was armed with a handgun in each and every case. He threatened their lives if they reported, and he did not use a condom in any of the assaults. These kidnappings and sexual assaults occurred between the years of 1999 and 2003. The defendant we are charging today began his employment with the Detroit Police Department in 1989. He worked in various locations within the department, including but not limited to the 10th and 2nd precincts. I believe he was with the 10th precinct when he retired. Investigative operations, tactical services unit, criminal investigations, and the commercial auto theft unit known as CATS. Benjamin Walker is now 68 years old. He received several awards and commendations and retired from the Detroit Police Department in 2017. He then moved to Greenville, North Carolina. We arrested him there on March the 17th of this year, and he has waived extradition. He's expected back in Michigan soon. I believe we're going to get him on Tuesday, and his arraignment has been scheduled in the 36th District Court on Thursday, March the 26th of this year. Per usual in these cases, we will not be naming the names of our survivors and our victims today. Before I go any further, it's very important that I acknowledge the wonderful collaborations that we had in this case. Sergeant Jennifer Carlson is next to the chief here, did phenomenal work from the Detroit Police Department on this case. The Michigan State Police was another partner. The Greenville, North Carolina Police Department, where as I indicated, that's where the defendant was living before his arrest a few days ago. The Detroit Field Office of the FBI, and the Charlotte, North Carolina Field Office of the FBI. Of course, our task force in my office, the Wayne County Prosecutor Sexual Assault Task Force, phenomenal work in this case. And I cannot neglect to mention our community partners at Avalon Healing Services, Healing Center, that provides services to our survivors and other victims of sexual assault, child abuse, and domestic violence. It must be noted that the defendant is presumed innocent unless or until proven guilty for each and every crime that we are charging today. Our first case was something that happened on November the 10th of 1999, a then 17-year-old teen at Chalfont and Mark Twain Streets in the city of Detroit. On that day of November the 10th of 1999, after her work shift ended, she took a bus to a bus stop near the home of a friend and began walking toward her friend's home. The defendant approached her, pointed a gun at her, ordered her from the scene, and sexually assaulted her. In that case, we are charging Benjamin Wagner with the following offenses: 1 count of kidnapping, 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, penis into the vagina, 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, fellatio, and 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, anal penetration. All of these offenses are life offenses. Our second case that we're charging Mr. Wagner with today happened on January 31st in the year 2000. A then 23-year-old female victim at the 18,400 block of Wyoming Street in the city of Detroit on the northwest side. On that day of January 31st of the year 2000, the victim left her home to simply walk to the store. She was walking and Benjamin Walker walked behind her, toward her very quickly, pointed a gun at her head. He ordered her from the scene, and then he later sexually assaulted her. In that case, we are charging Benjamin Walker with 1 count of kidnapping and 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, penis to the vagina. Both of these offenses are also life offenses. The third case that we are highlighting today, September the 28th of the year 2000, a then 15-year-old girl was in the 19,800 block of Florence Street in the city of Detroit on the northwest side. On that day of September the 28th in the year 2000, she was on her way to school. She was walking toward the bus stop. Benjamin Walker grabbed her arm, put a gun in her face, ordered her to move from the scene, and he then sexually assaulted her, 15 years old. In this case, Benjamin Walker has been charged with 1 count of kidnapping, 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, penis to the vagina, and 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the third degree, a person between the ages of 13 and 15. Kidnapping and criminal sexual conduct in the first degree are life offenses, and criminal sexual conduct in the third degree is a 15-year offense. Our fourth case happened on November the 19th of the year 2000. A then 20-year-old female victim was in the 8,500 block of West McNichols Road in the city of Detroit, the northwest side. And on that date of November 19th, she was walking to her friend's house when Benjamin Walker walked past her, and later he attacked her from behind and put a gun to her back. He removed her from the scene and sexually assaulted her. In this case, Benjamin Walker has been charged with 1 count of kidnapping and 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, penis in the vagina. Both of these offenses are life offenses. And in the fifth case, this case happened on April the 15th in the year 2003. A then 16-year-old girl was in the 19,000 block of Ferguson Street in the city of Detroit on the northwest side. And on that date of April the 15th, 2003, she was walking to a bus stop to catch a bus to school. Benjamin Wagner approached her after he came out of an alley and removed her from the scene. He had a handgun and sexually assaulted her as well. In that case, we are charging or have charged Benjamin Walker with 1 count of kidnapping, 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, penis in the vagina, and 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, fellatio. All of these offenses are also life offenses. In all, we have charged former Detroit police officer Benjamin Wagner with 14 separate counts. 8 counts of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree, 5 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the third degree. Now, even though the defendant had a weapon when he allegedly kidnapped and sexually assaulted all 5 of our victims and survivors, he has not been charged with the accompanying 5 counts of possession of a firearm during the commission or attempt commission of a felony, which I think all of you know is a mandatory 2-year offense that must be served prior to any other time being served. It is also known as felony firearm. Those weapons in this case could not be charged because of the Michigan statute of limitations. There is a 6-year statute of limitations in the state of Michigan for felony firearm, and that statute of limitation had expired before Benjamin Walker moved from Michigan to the state of North Carolina after he retired in 2017. As usual, more complete facts and evidence in this case will be placed on the record in court at the time of the preliminary examination. As I said before, these cases will be prosecuted by Assistant Prosecutors Carly Cox and Elizabeth Moore, who you just met. I remind you again that Benjamin Wagner is presumed innocent unless and until he is proven guilty. These are simply allegations at this time. And very important, if you believe that you were sexually assaulted by this defendant, please report this to the Detroit Police Department Sex Crimes Unit at 313-593-1950. That's the Detroit Police Department Sex Crimes Unit at 313-593-1950 and request to speak to Sergeant Jennifer Carlson. Our community partner, Avalon Healing Center, can be contacted for supportive services and assistance at 313-694-9701, 313-6, I'm sorry, let me repeat that, that's wrong. 313-964-9701, 313-964-9701. And they will provide services to you even if you don't want to go forward with the prosecution. So, Chief, next words.
The allegations absolutely shock the conscience, but I hope that this brings definitely solace and relief to our victims. We never stop investigating these cases. And so I'm definitely proud of Sergeant Carson and everyone else that was involved in the relentless pursuit of justice. As Wayne County Prosecutor said, the defendant is presumed innocent until proven guilty, but the allegations are shocking and we follow the evidence. The evidence found in this case is concerning a former Detroit Police Sergeant Benjamin Wagner. It's egregious, it's disturbing. Defendant Wagner's actions do not represent the integrity and the values and the mission of the officers of the Detroit Police Department. The work done in the case by our officer shows a true example of what I mean when I say that the men and women of the Detroit Police Department are truly dedicated to what they do in the pursuit of justice and following up on all cases, cold regardless. Working collaboratively with our law enforcement partners, of course, FBI, Michigan State Police, other law enforcement locals, Wayne County sheriffs, we were able to close this case, the sexual assault case, with an arrest. Hopefully the victims still a sense of closure now that the defendant has been identified and arrested. I want to personally thank Sergeant Jennifer Carlson of the Detroit Police Department, our SBU unit, and also our Wayne County partners, Sergeant Mogg, Detective Nance, Detective Engler, and everyone else who was involved in this. And special thanks to our Wayne County prosecutor for her relentless efforts with the sexual assault kit investigative team, as you well know, that she stood up many years ago and is paying huge dividends by identifying individuals and bringing them to justice. Cold cases are oftentimes some of the most difficult cases to solve because they require years of persistence, careful review of evidence, and most importantly, an unwavering commitment to justice. The work done by this team reflects the dedication, and I am so pleased with the charging decisions of our Wayne County Prosecutor, Madam Prosecutor Kym Worthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. So we'll take a few questions if you have any.
Who was it that initially came forward to get the ball rolling in this, with these allegations?
You mean the name of the victim?
Was it one of the victims that came forward, and when did the victim or victims come forward?
Well, let me just say this. Any further evidence will come forward in court. We're not at liberty to divulge at this time how it happened and actually when it happened and the services that were used at the time.
To expand though, the investigation Chief Benison mentioned, it's been going on since the first case in 1999. That's how long you've been investigating.
Well, frankly, this has been going on since way before that. We are in our, I think, 25th year. I could be wrong on that, in investigating unsolved these sexual assault kits that were in the Detroit Police warehouse that we found in 2009. So this case is part and parcel of all the work that's been done in that case.
So did all women go forward with those kits? All women went to the hospital?
All women in this case did have a kit done, the case that we charged. Not
Okay.
all women, as you know, do have a sexual assault kit done. But in this case, the 5 women and girls that we have charged, because that are the victims in this case, did have a sexual assault kit done.
Kim, can you address the time element though, in regard to, is it due in part because of a backlog? Is it due in part because this was a tough case and the years had gone by, and had it been a multi-year investigation to get to this point? But obviously with 20, 25 years spanning, the question is the why behind the timing and how long ago it might have come on your radar.
Well, the obvious answer is there were 11,341 of these cases. So obviously we didn't start working them all at the same time. It took, I think, 8 years or maybe 9 years to even get them all tested. And then we started working on the ones where we had the CODIS hits that we could put into the system at that time. And then we worked our way backwards. Obviously, we started with the ones that were the statute of limitations, and then we worked our way backwards. We started with the oldest ones first. I think the oldest one we prosecuted was 34 years. The victim was 9 years old when it happened. She was 34 when we prosecuted her case. So again, we have a definitive road to get into some of these cases, but again, it was over 11,000 of them. So clearly, there's been a passage of time before we can get to some of them.
Are you able to say how long this alleged offender has been on your radar?
I'm not say that.
Do you know if this Mr. Wagner, if he had any, do you have any reason to believe he had any contact or could have been watching the alleged victims while he was on duty? This was all in the northwest side of Detroit,
Right.
10th precinct, 2nd precinct. Did he have any contact with these young women as a cop, or knew their habits, so forth and so on?
That I do not know, and if I knew, I would not say. But I will say that all of these happened within about 5.5 miles of his home. So I think that we can easily say he was very familiar with the area.
Can you spell his name for us, please?
Benjamin, regular spelling, let me see. Benjamin, Wagner, Wagner.
If I can dovetail off of Randy's question. So did at any point, did any of the victims say that this perpetrator used his position as an officer to coerce, meaning they thought they might have been going with an officer of the law to somewhere? Or are you able to specify whether he was, in the function of his duties as a police officer?
I know that's a question that we all wonder about, but it's not something I can comment on right now. We want to protect the integrity of this long investigation, and also we want to make sure that our victims and survivors testify in court. Not that we're unsure about that. I don't want to make that assumption. But again, we want to make sure that all of the evidence comes out under oath in court. So a lot will come out during the preliminary examination if the defendant passed one.
The last known case was in 2003, right?
Yes.
And retired 14 years later. Is there, you obviously said if anyone believes it, it's got raped them. You guys have reason to believe that there could be more victims after that 2003 point, or?
Anything's possible, but I'm not going to comment specifically.
Prosecutor Worthy, just for clarification, that second case, was that woman 23 years old?
I believe the second case was the 23-year-old. The first one was 17 that I talked about. The second one, I believe, was 23. The third one was 15. Yeah, the 17-year-old was November 10th of 1999. The 23-year-old was January 31st of the year 2000. And the 15-year-old was September 28th of 2000. And the other two were on November 19th, 2000, and April 5th of 2003, respectively.
Thank you.
This gentleman, this guy retired in 2017. What were the circumstances of his retirement, his leaving the department? And also, were there ever any other cases, criminal charges, allegations against him in any other counties?
That I cannot answer.
Chief, is that something you can speak to? The 2017, he retired. The circumstances of his leaving the department, was he under any charges within DPD, any other current internal affairs investigations?
For the sake of keeping this investigation, if the prosecutor didn't answer that, didn't feel comfortable with it, I'm not going to answer it at this point.
Kim, my last question.
And I should have really said I won't answer that question instead of.
Just to
It's
clarify,
about the investigation.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, all of the victims then reported these incidents properly, got rape kits done?
I believe that's true, yes.
Okay.
Which you already alluded to it, but, you know, if you can talk about just restoring the trust when people hear that a former cop is accused of doing this and this. I remember growing up in this, you know, around that time, and people making sort of, people being taken in abandoned houses and what have you, kids walking to school. There was palpable fear in the city of this very thing, and that continued. And when people hear it's a cop accused of doing it, talk about what it will take even just to regain, and just to restore that sort of trust.
This is an example of it. We hold our own accountable. No one is above the law. And these allegations are absolutely disturbing. And when we get allegations, we take them seriously and we investigate them. And so when it comes to the public trust, 99% of our men and women of the Detroit Police Department and law enforcement in general, they go out there and they're heroes and sheroes, and they do it right each and every day. But within every profession, there is a small minority of individuals that do things for nefarious purposes and reasons. And with that, based off the allegations, as we can see that Mr. Wagner has violated his oath of office. And anybody out there within the sound of my voice should definitely feel comfortable by notifying the Detroit Police Department. And as you can see, we will relentlessly pursue all allegations, cases, and regardless of time, we don't stop. Thank you.
Chief Assistant Prosecutor Worthy, is this case then still open, or is the investigation ongoing, since you want more women to come forward, possibly if Benjamin Wagner did commit more of these alleged crimes?
The allegations and the charge in the case of these 5 cases are closed, but I would consider this to be a continuing investigation, yes. And let me just clarify, I think those of you who know me well enough know the answer to this, but I don't mean to be flippant when I can't answer some certain questions, but I'm ethically not able to answer some of these questions. And if you do come to the preliminary examination, any further proceedings, you'll see why, I think, as we go on, as we go forward. I do want to make one correction because I misspoke. The phone number of the Detroit Police Department Sex Crimes Unit is 313-596-1950. Again, 313-596-1950. I hope that you will cover that and place the proper number. And again, if anyone within the sound of our voice and listening to us today thinks they were sexually assaulted by this defendant, please call the Detroit Police Department Sex Crimes Unit at 313-596-1950 and ask for Sergeant Jennifer Carlson.
Kim, I apologize. I know I promised you the last question a minute ago, but I have one last one. Is there anything in regard to where he took these victims that is a common thread, or you've mentioned numerous times he approached them, forced them with a gun to go to another location? Was it a house? Was it his home? Was it somewhere else? Was there a place he took
Like
them?
I said, it wasn't his home. But I will say that these 5 cases have a lot of commonalities, and these were the commonalities are, as I've said before, I think all of these victims, our survivors, were walking. They were headed to a certain place, whether it be school, home from work, to a friend's house. And yes, this defendant acted in a common way in all of these cases.
You can't share where he took them?
No, not at this time. All right. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Release will be sent to everybody here. If I don't, if you're not on my regular mailing list, if you can give me your email address, I will send it to you. It will be, yeah, electronically sent. I don't know if it was great.